Hello, hello, hello to all the Formula One fans out there. I hope everyone's doing all right. Keeping safe and that. Yeah, obviously we're in 2021, and the Formula One season is gonna start really soon this weekend. 26th of March to the 28th of March. So basically, the first race is in Bahrain, and I'm looking forward to it because preseason testing was in Bahrain as well, and it went all right. It went all right for some of the teams. Aston Martin struggled a bit. Mercedes struggled a little bit. McLaren did okay. Alpine has some good laps. Formerly known as Renault. The Williams, they don't know where they are, if they're still not the last team in Formula One, so they're still looking. Haas Haas F1 has some good running with the youngsters Nikita Mazepin and Mick Schumacher. So it's gonna be exciting. So coming up for this season, I wanted to make a series, a series about the two 7-time world champions in Formula One. The first one to reach 7 world championships was Michael Schumacher in Formula One, and Michael Schumacher is a different character because he was more like he was disciplined. He was a disciplined person, like always training, always doing research, always talking to the mechanics. And most of the time, Michael, when the car would damage, Michael would be right there helping to build a car, respray the car, fix it. Michael was a hands-on type of driver, and when it comes to racing, when he puts the visor down, he just sees winning. He, he, Michael was not a person to accept losing. Yeah, that's a true statement. Michael was not a person to accept losing. He hated losing. So he was the first one to climb up the ladder to get 7 world championships. So his first championship, Michael, was in 1994. 1994, and he was with Benetton that year. And the 1994 Formula One season was a really sad season, to be honest, because two drivers passed away at the track in Imola in Italy, which was Roland Ratzenberger. He passed away in qualifying. He had a crash, and Ayrton Senna passed away the next day on a Sunday during the race at Imola. So that track, there's a statue of Senna at Imola, and lots of flowers, and even the corner where he crashed is got some tattoo and lots of positive messages and lots of flowers and stuff like that. So definitely Ayrton Senna, the loss of Ayrton Senna to Formula One was a shock. It was a big shock to Formula One, and the title race took a turn because Ayrton was not in the title race no more. So Schumacher won 6 of the first 7 races. There was only 16 races during the 1994 season. Schumacher won 6 of the first 7 races to take a lead in the championship, and he was fighting with Damon Hill. Damon Hill was driving for Williams. He was Ayrton Senna's teammate. So what happened is Damon came back in the championship to give Michael a strong challenge towards the end of the season. Michael got disqualified for two races, and then he got banned from another 2 races, and Damon Hill won all those 4 races. So that's 40 points at least recovered by Damon Hill during those 4 races where Schumacher got disqualified from 2 and then banned from 2. So that was a controversy with I think the launch control systems. And also Michael Schumacher, while he was in Formula One, always used to get in trouble, either penalties, either crashing with people and stuff like that. But the last race of the season, it was won by Nigel Mansell. It was the last race of the season was won by Nigel Mansell, and Nigel Mansell um, helped Williams to clinch the constructors championship that year. This is the 1994 Formula One season. Back then, them engines were much more powerful. They sounded much more louder, which much more naturally aspirated. Obviously, this modern era, you have turbochargers and you have turbochargers and hybrid technology in Formula One engines. So it's a different kind of kettle of fish. So 1994, Damon Hill only lost the championship to Michael Schumacher by 1 point. So at the last race of the season, um, Michael Schumacher during the race, had a crash with his championship contender, which was Damon Hill, and then they ended up they ended up getting out of the race. So Michael Schumacher won the championship by only 1 point, and that's a funny story because like it was a crash, it was a race, and it was a crash between the two main people that are fighting for the championship. To not so they both of them didn't finish the race and didn't score no points, so the points was void for that race, and Michael won that championship. Some people say it's tainted, but a championship is a championship. If you win the championship, that means that you work hard for it, you built up to it. You know, you was always in your rhythm, and you never lost your discipline, and you achieved that level that you wanted to achieve. So, yeah, congrats to Michael for winning the 1994 Formula One World Championship, and that was his first championship. Now, moving on to comparing Michael's first championship to Lewis Hamilton's first championship. Um, Obviously, Lewis Hamilton came in Formula One in 2007. You know, he was signed as a McLaren youngster from like 13 years old. So McLaren was backing him from young, and in 2007, Lewis Hamilton lost the championship to Kimi Raikkonen because there was an inter-team battle between in McLaren between Fernando Alonso and Lewis Hamilton. Whole loads of controversy. That's another subject for another time. So by the Brazilian Grand Prix, Lewis needed to finish in the top five, and he couldn't do it, so he finished seventh, and he lost the world championship by 1 point to Kimi Raikkonen, and that's to till this day, 2021, March 2021. That's Kimi Raikkonen's only world championship in Formula One. So 2008 comes now. Lewis Hamilton's got a new teammate. His teammate is what's it called? Heikki Kovalainen, a Finnish driver, and you have Felipe Massa and Kimi Raikkonen in the Ferrari. So it was basically McLaren versus Ferrari in 2008. So the season starts, first race, Lewis Hamilton wins the first race. You know, the second race, Massa um, coming back slowly, and then coming back in the championship slowly. At the Bahrain Grand Prix, Massa had won the previous year, so he had he had a good race at the Bahrain Grand Prix in 2008, and then Felipe Massa had a couple of bad races. I'm talking about the involvement of the 2008 season. So early in the championship, Lewis won the first race, and then Massa come back slowly, and then Massa had a couple of bad races. So it was kind of close. Lewis had a bad race in Bahrain as well, and then the season kept breeding on, and then they got to Germany, and then Germany was another exciting race where Lewis Hamilton, I think he started from pole position, but he lost I think because of a safety car period, he lost the lead of the Grand Prix, and he ended up coming back to fight with Felipe Massa and Nelson Piquet to win the German Grand Prix, and he won the British Grand Prix that year as well. Lewis Hamilton, in the soaking rain, he put on a brilliant performance at Silverstone to win the British Grand Prix. And then towards the end of the year, I remember in China, Lewis won the last but one Grand Prix, the penultimate Grand Prix in China. Lewis he blitzed off. He was on pole position, started very well. He blitzed off. No one could catch him. So going into the final race of the season, um, Lewis was leading the championship. I think by I think 9 points or 7, 8 or 9 points. I'm not too sure. And then he only he only won the championship by 1 point in 2008. I'm talking about Lewis Hamilton. He won it in the last race, in the last corner, on the last lap. He won the world championship by 1 point to Massa's Ferrari. He was in the McLaren, so that was Lewis Hamilton's first world championship in the McLaren. First world championship in the McLaren. So imagine this now. The Brazilian Grand Prix starts here in 2008. Yeah, this is one of the best races I've seen in my life. Yeah, them times I was in secondary school, innit? So imagine Brazilian Grand Prix starts. I think Lewis Hamilton started second, but he ended up. Yeah, he started second, but he lost a position. He lost a couple of positions on the first lap, and then as the race fed on, he was stuck in like fourth. Lewis was stuck in fourth. I remember, yeah, McLaren set up the car that day not to go for the race win, they trimmed the car up just to finish the Grand Prix and have it good enough pace to win the championship. That's what they were looking for. They weren't trying to race with the front runners. They were more racing with the midfielders, they were racing for that position, the third, fourth, and fifth. I don't even think they went for third. So Massa led the race. He was leading the race all the way. So as the race unfolding, it was about Hamilton's result. If Hamilton couldn't get in the top five, he would have lost the championship. And then the rain started coming. They came in, changed tires. And then what happened is the Toyota of Timo Glock here, he stayed out on the intermediate tires, and he stayed out on slick tires, and everyone else had intermediate tires. Hamilton must have pitted with a few laps to go, hoping that he can secure that position if he kept on that strategy, because he had to react to the rain. Because if he didn't react to the rain and lost the championship, they would have said, "Oh, why didn't you pit?" So, and imagine the previous year he lost the championship by 1 point. So imagine he was going through it. So what happened is he pitted, and then on the last lap, yeah, he's coming up. Hold on. Hello. Yeah, so imagine on the last lap of the race, um, look, Glock didn't pit, so Lewis comes out of the pits, following. He got overtaken. He was in fourth position. He got overtaken by Robert Kubica in Williams, who unlapped himself. You're allowed to unlap yourself in Formula One, which means if you're faster than the car in front, if he's in fifth position and you're in 17th, but you're faster than him, and you just came out of the pit lane, you're allowed to unlap yourself because you're faster than him. He's slowing you down, kind of. So imagine this. Glock didn't pit. He was on slick tires. So Hamilton then got overtaken by Vettel. So he went down to sixth position. You understand? He lost a couple of positions in a few corners. He went down to sixth position. So he's following Vettel around. He's trying to banzai move on Vettel, yeah. He couldn't do it. Sebastian Vettel was driving a Toro Rosso that season in 2008. This is 2008 World Championship we're talking about, Brazilian Grand Prix. So coming up to the last lap now, coming up to the last corner, you see Timo Glock. He was kind of slowing down in it because his tires was basically shot in it. His tires was done in it. So tires done. So I'm thinking to myself, oh my. So imagine in the last lap, I think the 14th corner, the last corner, Lewis come on the Vettel overtook. Kubica went through on Glock. Vettel went through on Glock, and then Lewis just followed through on Glock. And yeah, by the time Massa crossed the line, 12 seconds later, Massa was the champion for only 12 seconds. Massa crossed the line, he was the champion. When Lewis overtook Timo Glock in the last corner, he became the world champion. So I hope you enjoyed this video. This is how Michael Schumacher and Lewis Hamilton won the first world championships. They both won it by 1 point, and yeah, they had some fierce competitors. The Williams was a fast car against the Benetton, and then the Ferrari was a really really tough car for the McLaren to. Man, that was some of the toughest years of Hamilton's life when he was fighting with the Ferraris when they were that fast and they had their team. They just had the remnants of the Schumacher kind of team. So imagine Lewis had to come in and beat Ferrari, one of the top engineering groups in the world, engineering people in the world. So you have to really give them guys credit. And I always rate Michael Schumacher. He's a really really top champion, and the way he carries himself. I don't like the parts where he crashes with people and cheat and accusations of cheating and that's a different story. But when it comes to him racing and winning races and winning Grand Prix and winning championships, the man is up there, man. His brain is quite good and he puts the work and the effort in. And when it comes to winning championships, yeah, Lewis Hamilton, he's got the discipline and the stamina and the efforts, yeah, and the guile and the spirit to win championships. And so the first championship for Michael Schumacher was won in 1994, and the first championship for Lewis Hamilton was won in 2008. So yeah, that's a long gap. And moving on, part two of the series is gonna come, where we're gonna dive into 1995 season for Michael Schumacher. That's his second championship, and then we're gonna dive into the 2014 season for Lewis Hamilton, which is his second championship. So I'm hoping you enjoy this video, you enjoy the series. I'm hoping you're looking forward to the first race at the Bahrain Grand Prix in Bahrain. And yeah, I'm hoping you're excited. There's some interesting content. I'm very interested by it because it's a high level of thinking. It's not a low vibration. This is a high vibrations. This is people trying to accomplish things, trying to win something in life, where these are great role models. So I think this is a good series that I'm bringing to the Formula One world, and I'm hope you're enjoying it. Like it, share it, subscribe, and yeah, post it, man. Let it go viral. Give thanks, love.